I used to think silence meant comfort. The kind of silence that fills a room when two people are so in sync, words feel unnecessary. But in hindsight, that silence became something else. Hollow. Avoidant. Loaded. Her name was Elise. We met 6 years ago, in a bookstore of all places, two hands reaching for the same battered copy of Slaughterhouse-Five. She laughed, I smiled, and by some strange twist of timing and fate, we never let go. For 5 years, our life together was good. Not fairy tale perfect, but real. Movie nights, shared groceries, lazy Sunday mornings where we argued about pancakes versus waffles. I'd have bet my last breath she was my forever. But forever doesn't flinch when your phone buzzes and you leap to grab it. It started small. Longer work hours. New perfume. Laughter that wasn't shared with me. I chalked it up to stress. Hers, mine, ours. I didn't want to believe anything else. Until the night I found her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter, the glow of a message lighting up her screen like a flare in the dark. Had a great time last night. I wish mornings with you could last forever. There it was. No ambiguity, just truth, uninvited and cruel. I stood there, holding her phone like it was something venomous. She walked in moments later, freezing mid-step when she saw my face. Elise, I said. Just her name. Nothing else. Her eyes dropped to the phone. No excuses. No gaslighting. Just silence. I asked, how long? She whispered, 3 months. That was all I needed to know. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. I walked into the bedroom, packed a bag with the essentials, jeans, shirts, the book we'd both reached for that first day. She watched me from the doorway, tears already spilling down her cheeks, but she didn't say the words I was silently waiting for. Don't go. Instead, she choked out. I didn't mean to. I stopped her with a raised hand. You did. You just didn't expect to get caught. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was how suddenly the person I thought I knew vanished, replaced by someone who made choices in shadows and offered apologies only when the lights came on. As I stepped outside into the night, the air felt sharper, colder. But I was calm, steady. Sometimes, it's not the scream that ends things. It's the stillness. The kind that follows when trust dies. I left quietly. No door slam. No final insult. Just the soft click of the lock behind me. And in that moment I realized silence can be an ending all its own. The first night alone was the hardest. I slept on a friend's couch, fully clothed, staring at a ceiling that wasn't mine. Every creak of the floor above, every distant car, felt louder. The silence was no longer the ending, it was now the beginning, and I didn't know where it led. But I knew I couldn't stay broken. The next morning, I found a small apartment across town. 1 bedroom, a window that faced a brick wall, and a second-hand couch that smelled faintly of old books and coffee. It wasn't much, but it was mine. No memories lived in its walls. No ghosts lingered in the corners. At first, the days blurred. Wake up, go to work, come home, stare at nothing. But pain has a strange way of forcing clarity. I picked up a notebook and started writing. Just thoughts at first, scattered, raw, unfiltered. Pages soaked in anger, confusion, and the ache of being discarded. But slowly, the entries shifted. The anger dulled. The questions stopped demanding answers. My sentences began to sound like someone I hadn't heard from in a long time, me. I returned to the gym. Not to punish myself, but to move forward. Every drop of sweat felt like something shedding, self-doubt, shame, resentment. My body strengthened as my mind quieted. I no longer trained to forget her. I trained to remember who I was before her. Friends I hadn't seen in years reappeared. A college buddy invited me on a weekend hike. I almost declined. I didn't know how to be social anymore. But I went. The forest was quiet, but not empty. Trees didn't demand explanations. Nature didn't ask what went wrong. It simply was. Steady. Unapologetic. I found peace in that simplicity. One night, after a long day, I looked in the mirror and didn't see heartbreak. I saw someone who had been through fire and walked out clean. Not unscarred, but better. She had broken my trust, but not my foundation. She had lied, but I had lived. And more than anything, I realized this. I didn't need closure from her. I didn't need an apology, or a second chance, or some dramatic reconciliation. I needed space.
Time.
And the discipline to show up for myself every single day. That was enough. I started cooking again, playing guitar, reading the books I used to say I didn't have time for. I smiled more. I even went on a few dates, nothing serious, just the kind that reminded me I was still capable of connection, of being seen. One evening, I sat on my tiny balcony, tea in hand, city buzzing below me. The sun dipped low, painting the skyline in orange and ash. I breathed deeply and thought. I left quietly, but I returned loudly, even if no one else heard it. And that was the first time I truly felt free. It was a Sunday afternoon, the kind where the air feels soft and time slows down. I was folding laundry, some lo-fi jazz humming in the background, when I heard a knock at the door. 3 soft raps. Hesitant. Familiar. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, I didn't register her at first. She looked different. Smaller somehow. Her eyes were swollen, red-rimmed. Mascara streaked faintly down one cheek.
Elise.
We stood in silence for a moment that felt like an echo from another life. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't move. I just stepped aside. She walked in slowly, like someone entering a sacred place they didn't think they'd see again. Her eyes scanned the apartment, the bookshelf, the plants on the windowsill, the guitar resting in the corner.
"You've changed," she said.
I didn't reply. I wasn't sure if it was meant as a compliment, an accusation, or something else entirely. She sat on the edge of the couch, gripping her hands together tightly. I sat across from her, not close, not far. Just present. After a long pause, she exhaled shakily. It ended. A few months ago. I nodded, saying nothing. It wasn't what I thought it would be, she continued, eyes glassy. He didn't see me the way you did. Didn't care. It all just fell apart. Still, I stayed silent. Not out of coldness, but clarity. I didn't owe her my voice. Only my presence for now. She looked up. I've thought about that night every day. The way you left. No anger, no yelling. Just gone. I didn't understand it then, but now I do. You were already stronger than me. Her words hung in the air, heavier than the silence that followed them. I was stupid. Selfish. I thought I needed something new, something exciting. But all I did was throw away the one person who actually knew me. I met her gaze. You didn't just throw me away. You walked past everything we built like it was furniture you'd outgrown. She flinched, but didn't argue. I don't expect you to take me back, she whispered. I needed to see you, to tell you that I'm sorry. It wasn't the apology that struck me, it was the sincerity in her eyes. It was the absence of ego, the raw, painful recognition that some choices leave permanent cracks. I forgave you, I said quietly. A long time ago. Her lip trembled. Does that mean? No, I said gently. Forgiving you doesn't mean I want what we had again. That version of me no longer exists. I'm not the man you left. She nodded slowly, wiping her cheek. I just wanted to say goodbye the right way. I stood and walked her to the door. No dramatic exit. No raised voices. Just 2 people, once in love, now in closure. She paused at the threshold. You're different. I smiled, just a little. I'm finally myself. Then I closed the door, softly, finally. After she left, I stood by the door for a long time, hand still resting on the knob. There was no rush of vindication. No secret satisfaction in seeing her cry. Just stillness. Like the final note of a song you didn't realize you were waiting to end. I made myself tea, sat by the window, and watched the light change. The city moved on around me. Cars, conversations, laughter drifting up from the street below. Life didn't pause for emotional epilogues. And neither did I. Her visit stirred something, sure, Not regret, but reflection. There was a time when her presence would have unraveled me, when a single tear down her cheek would have undone all my progress, pulled me back into the tangle of what if and maybe still. But that man, the one who needed her apology, her attention, her love to feel whole, he was gone. Buried beneath days of silence, miles walked alone, and the slow, quiet rebuilding of a self I had once handed over too freely. Elise had been a chapter. A meaningful one, yes, but not the whole story. In truth, her affair didn't break me. It revealed me. It peeled back the layers I had built around someone else's comfort, someone else's flaws, someone else's indecision. And beneath that, I found someone worth protecting.
Me.
She came back searching for the man she left, gentle, patient, forgiving to a fault. But the man who opened the door today wasn't waiting for her anymore. He wasn't looking to fix something broken or pretend betrayal hadn't left scars. He was whole, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. It's strange. I thought closure would come with dramatic moments. Angry words, heartfelt letters, long explanations. But sometimes closure is just a quiet truth settling in your chest. You're okay. And you're better off. That night, I pulled out the old copy of Slaughterhouse-Five, the one we both reached for on the day we met. I flipped through the pages, fingers brushing annotations from a different time. I smiled, not from sadness, but from gratitude. She had been part of the story, but I had always been the author. I placed the book back on the shelf and turned out the light. No final message, no lingering hope, just peace. And as I lay down to sleep, I realized something I hadn't dared believe before. I didn't need her to come back. I didn't need her to see me now. But I'm glad she did. Because in her eyes, I saw what I had become. Not someone broken, not someone abandoned, but someone rebuilt. Not for revenge. Not for her. Just for me. And that was enough.